All right, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Country Boy Outdoors. I just put that set in across the road behind me here with the shotgun shells. But I like to put more than one set in because where there's a reason to put one, there's a reason to put more. So I'm going to put in a dirt hole set just across the road from it. And I'm going to start like always. I got everything set the way I always set it. Make sure my chain is loose here on the drag. And I'll toss that drag out there into that brush that's laying there. That's a good addition to the drag. All right. I'm going to start this time with my dirt hole. I use an auger. You don't have to. But this is much easier. And I dig them deep. And notice I'm putting it at about a 45-degree angle. That's just one more way to control their nose. Put it right where you want it. All right, got the hole dug. Take this dirt and pull that back a little bit like that. We'll use that to cover the trap. Any other dirt that's left over after you've covered the trap, I take it and just scoot it back like that. Makes it look like a fox or a coyote actually dug it out. All right, next thing. Notice in the last video I said sometimes I center them, sometimes I offset them. This one is going to be centered. This is a number 2 Victor that I have modified. This was my Uncle Owen's trap. And when he passed away, I got a couple of them just for nostalgia, I guess you would call it. This trap means a lot to me. It's night latched and set just right. All right, now I'll get my hammer. I go probably a hand width. That's 7 or 8 inches. Sometimes I go a little closer, depending on what I'm using for bait. If I'm using a bait and lure like briar patch and crow's blood, they like to dig for that. They'll dig to China for that stuff. And when they dig, I want the trap up a little closer and get a better catch ratio. Make a spot for the levers to ride in or lay in, whatever you want to say. And again, the most important part is bedding that trap. You don't want any wobble. I'm just taking care of the chain right now. Get it good and tight. The trick is to make your hole, the bowl that you use to set the trap down in, make it just a little smaller than the trap itself. So you can work the trap down in and it almost beds itself. I have a trapper's cap for this one, but it doesn't usually work very good. So I'm not going to use it. And I'm not going to use anything under that pan, and I've gotten away with that before. I recommend that you use something over the pan or under the pan or something to keep the dirt from getting in there. It's just I don't have anything today, and that trapper's cap has not been working real good. No wobble. All right, now, to make sure I get away with no dirt under the pan, or not enough dirt under the pan, I'm going to come straight down on top of that pan with that dirt. Yeah, I gotta be careful here. Barely scraping that pan. All right, I'm going to back around it, around the pan that is. Trust me, that pan will fire. All I'm doing here is I'm making sure I got enough over the jaws so that if he steps on them, he's not going to know it. He's not going to know they're there. That's the second most important part. All right. What I do here, I got a little bit of a depression. I don't want to make that, I don't want to fill that depression in all the way. Why? Because the coyote likes to step in a low spot. I may not have enough dirt around it, but we can fix that. There isn't a whole lot of depression there, but there's enough so that it'll make him step in it. And I'm just going to sift a little more dirt there. And the rest of this dirt I'm going to take care of just the way I told you. Just sling it back there. Gives it more of a visual. Although the wind is blowing right over his line of travel on this one. The other one is a visual set, so I don't worry too much about the scent, the wind. All right. And again, there's automatically a clump of dirt right there. Just enough. That's just enough to make him step over it. He'll do it subconsciously. Coyotes have habits too, just like humans. All right, now I'm going to try to guide him a little bit more. All right. On this one, on the other side, I don't know what I'm going to use. I guess I could use the same thing. I'm just going to lay it there like that. He'll go in right over it. Right over the pan, just where we want him. That out of the way. All right, nothing but bait and lure on it now. I'm done with all this equipment. It goes back into the bucket. All right, I'm using briar patch and crow's blood as my lure. Briar patch is the bait. Again, don't hold it over the trap bed as you unscrew it. And I put a fairly good amount down that hole. And they love it. You get it from Down South Trappers out of Alabama. I'll put a link in the description for you. All right. is the bait. Now, just find a little stick. Everything goes down the hole, except the urine. There you go, fairly good amount. That goes down the hole too. And I have come back to these the next day with a crater. These, for some reason, this combination, coyotes will lose, they'll forget they have a brain, and they will go for it. And that's their downfall. And the final touch. A little urine on the backing. And that's a completed set. I hope you learned something. One more thing I can do. Let's take a little bit of grass or weed, some kind that I can stuff down in that hole. It makes them work for it a little bit harder and keeps their feet moving. Oh, that's the whole purpose. All right, hope you learned something again. And Country Boy out.